Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone today on this fabulous Friday? Yes, it is hot and humid. Yes, so definitely stay safe. Drink lots of water, you know. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Don't get dehydrated. That is for sure. Welcome to this edition of Tina the Keto Coach's Friday Night Treats with Tina. How is everyone today? I hope everyone is doing fantabulous. I just wanted to go ahead and just thank you all for being here, for supporting me, for all your comments and your shares, and all the wonderful people that are checking this video cast or whatever you want to call it out. And also on the another streaming service, they have me on podcast, which is iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Pandora, I think. And it's under Northeast Entertainment or something like that. Great company, but you'll see that information and my link that I'm going to leave at the end of this broadcast. Definitely feel free to copy that and save that and go ahead and like them over there. They're excellent people. And they have other things, and they have a sports cast and all kinds of things too. So definitely go ahead and check them out. Also, please remember to check out also the link that I have is my digital business card that I think you all would like. And those of you that are business owners out there, I use the company called Popple. Definitely go ahead and sign up so you can do that with your business card. You can scan to each other and all of that stuff and send it to potential clients and other business associates and people that you're networking with, which I think is actually excellent. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, indeed. And don't forget also to check out my link for Teespring so you can get some Tina the Keto Coach swag and everything, which I think is excellent. I love it. I love it. Other than that, today I'm going to make something that I've always wanted to make, and I'm also a little bit hungry for it now anyway. I'm going to make Chicago deep dish pizza. I even looked up the order and how to put it in and everything, how to make, basically, of course, I'm going to make it keto style, so the crust is going to be way different, which is fine, you know. And I think there's a layer where you got to put the cheese in first, you put the meat, then you put the vegetables, if you want to put vegetables, and then you put the sauce on top and bake it in the oven. I think I'm going to love that. So what we're going to do is start off with making the crust. Oh yeah, see all this wonderful cheese? Yes, I'm using 3 types of cheeses in this. Yes, I love cheese. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the side. I'm going to take my almond flour, put this in my food processor. I'm going to take 1.5 cups of almond flour. Let's go ahead and measure this out. Almond flour, I know some of you that are already doing keto and low carb. The reason why I like using almond flour in my savory dishes is because coconut flour to me is better in your sweeter dishes and your pies and things. Although you can use almond flour for your sweet dishes too. But coconut flour definitely has more of a sweeter undertone to it that you really don't want in your warm, fuzzy, savory meals. You really don't want that. So that's why I like using the almond flour. And there's a couple of brands that I like this one that you see here. And then it's another, some diamond brand. Well, you know what I'm talking about if you're out there looking. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put this almond flour on the side. Won't need that anymore. And then after that, I'm going to evenly distribute this in my food processor. I'm going to take a 1/2 stick of melted butter. Put that in there. Put that on the side. And actually, I'm going to take like maybe about 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. I'm using this, it's like a 1/4 cup measure, so it's like half of this or a little less. And I'm going to go ahead and season this crust. Of course, you know I like my garlic and herb seasoning here. See, cooking is easy and fun. You notice a lot of things that I make, there's some of the same ingredients, some of the same seasonings, you know, that you would use any place else. Any place else. So I'm using the garlic one and the onion one, and I'm using, since this is pizza, of course I'm going to use Italian seasoning. And you can measure this to your liking. I like my food to have a lot of flavor, that's for sure. And I'm going to get this. Found this when I was away a couple of weeks ago. Um, it's called Paleo Blend. I love it. I don't know if I can find anything that's close to that, but the particular market that was in Florida, it's not here in Virginia. But that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this. Go ahead and blend this in. Make a nice crust, you know. I know some of you can see this on the side past my phone. See how it's blending? I love my food processor. Put this on the side. And I'm going to take this, pick this up some. Let me put these measuring cups over here because I won't need those anymore. It always looks like a lot of fun, or should I say a lot of mess over here. But, you know, I'm really cooking for real. As I always like to say. See how this looks? It's nice and doughy. See that? That's how you want it to come out to look. I'm going to go ahead, because I already cut within this my deep dish pan. These pans, I love them, but they started to split, and it's really not a good idea to use them without some type of lining in them. So I cut some parchment paper to the sides of this pan. So I'm going to lay this in here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this inside of my pan. You hear that? It's nice and dense. That's what I like about it. And it's going to be full of a lot of flavor. You know me, I like to make sure I get everything when I'm cooking and baking. Plus it makes it easier to clean. So I'm going to go ahead and mash this around. Inside of here. Go ahead and use my fingers. My hands are definitely clean. And you know what? With all the things going on, I mean, those of you that don't know how to cook, please don't be afraid. I mean, I intentionally try not to eat out as frequently, especially with everything that's happening now. Please be safe. And you might be better off cooking yourself if you have time, or learning to adjust the time and make the time, especially those of you that work regular 9 to 5 or 11 to 7 or 3 to 11 jobs. Look up information for you on how to plan that so you won't feel stressed for you and your family, you know. Whereas with someone like me, if some of you are like me, you know, your family might not eat some of the things that you eat on a regular basis. A few things, but not everything, because they're not following this lifestyle, which is fine. But you know, definitely, I'm just very concerned, you know. So I worry about all of you out there, my Facebook family. You know, I love you all and I care for you, and I just want everybody to be safe and happy out there. I think we all do the very best we can. That's for sure. Okay, I just mashed this crust in here. See that? I'm going to stick this in the oven for maybe like 5 minutes to get a little heat on it. Let me wash my hands. I think it's important for everybody to see that. And actually wash my hands. I think that's very important. Very. I'm going to wipe down my surface where I just was making my crust. I got some news. I was reading something that I was noticing, but I didn't want to say anything. But it's a good thing. But I feel kind of ashamed that I was noticing. Well, since I'm mostly home with my family, I seldom really go out and do much of anything, work from home and all of that stuff. Um, I noticed since I've been keto, I guess my body is definitely in some sort or form of ketosis. I notice I don't really stink like I used to. If I'm exercising and working out, it's like, well, where is the odor? I'm like, what? That's weird. And I do a lot of working out. I think some of you know that I do definitely work out. And lo and behold, there is some information out there that some people, when they follow this type of lifestyle and diet, if they had just normal BO, everybody gets it now and again. I don't mind talking about it. Like I said, let's talk about everything. You know what I mean? I notice it's not as bad. And some of you know that I model with a company called Cameo Models International. And I used to be concerned about some trying on the clothes at some of the retailers that we model for and everything. And I'd be like, oh God, it's the summertime. It's like, oh, I don't want, oh God. But it's not bad. And although we use things to protect the garment and all of that stuff, which is a good thing. But I'm noticing the body and the natural fragrances are way better. I think that's a good thing. That's something interesting. I love reading about and getting information about stuff like that because I think that's very important to know. Now, of course, I'm an adult. I don't know how this would apply for somebody that's before teenage years when they're going through puberty and during the teenage years, especially maybe a boy. And I'm wondering if those that follow this, if do they notice a difference, or maybe there's no difference at all at that age because their bodies are still developing and growing and all of that stuff. But a lot of people that are adults are noticing that they see that not really a whole lot of problem, which is a good thing. I think that's kind of funny to me, but that's just FYI for you all to know. And also, I think I may have touched on it in the past. People that really suffer from what they call IBS, following this type of lifestyle definitely helps that, helps address some of the issues with that. Now, remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, none of that. I just have the academics as a counselor, but I'm not a counselor at all. I'm just speaking from my experience as I felt comfortable enough to share with you about the having the good natural body odor, sharing with you all about that. And then, of course, other information that I look up. This is information that you can readily look up yourself, Google, hello, Google, but it's still good to hear from someone else. And I don't mind answering questions, but still consult your doctor when you're considering this type of a lifestyle change. It's very important. But you do have to be your own advocate. You have to be your advocate, which is what I did trying to get my health back together. And it's still a process for me. It's not overnight. Like I said, other people can lose 100 pounds in 4 months and all of this stuff. It's taken me years to get where I am now. I think my heaviest weight, I think I have showed a before picture, but I still don't have pictures at my heaviest. I think I was like almost 270 pounds, like 268 pounds at one time. And I'm not even 5 foot 2. So that was a lot. So, but other than that, I like to make this fun for you and try to make it easy, something that you can, even if you don't have your family or your kids or your grandkids to participate in, that this is something that you can do as a family. And I had a friend ask me, well, when you finally meet your goal, will you stop being keto and carnivore? I'm like, no, because your body naturally has a set point. Well, it knows where it's most comfortable at. Now, for women, sometimes that can change periodically. But no, because I get so many other benefits from this lifestyle, like not having the allergies anymore, not getting the upper respiratory infections anymore and stuff, which obviously my body was allergic and fighting things that most people could have or eat. It's like For example, although I know you don't eat certain fruits on keto anyway or carnivore, but in the past I used to be allergic to apples, pears, peaches, plums, and cherries. Like those fruits a lot, but I couldn't eat them because I would break out in hives on my lips, or I'd start sneezing, and all kinds of episodic things. And I used to take my allergy, like Benadryl, Allerest, and everything since I was a kid. So this is I know I've spoke about this over and over again, but when you start having results like that with your health, even as you get older, because once you pass a certain age, they say that certain things actually decline, which I understand, and it can happen. But you can stave off a lot of things if you choose this lifestyle. Learn it, use me as a resource, and there are other resources and other people out there, like I make no money doing this. I'm gonna be honest. Matter of fact, I'm looking for a job. I don't mind saying, but I like helping people get to where they're trying to be, and I like to be a real example. A real example to people, and that yes, it takes time and be patient and everything. And I know you can do this if you choose, whether it's this or some other program. But what I'm finding, and studies are showing, this is a sustainable program. Other ones aren't. They're really not. Like the SAD, ironically enough, it stands for SAD, which is the Standard American Diet. It is sad. It doesn't work. Trying to go low calorie, low fat. Your body needs fat. That's how your cells reproduce and recuperate and repair. This is why it's okay to have your fat, your animal fats, because technically that's what we are. I know it sounds nice to eat all the trees, berries, and green stuff, but it's hard on the digestive system. It's really not good as good for people as they think it is. And I know people are like eating these things that they look pretty. They come in different flavors that they get at the bottom of the ocean. Yes, it may have certain minerals in it, and you may think it may help improve your immune system, but maybe not. Well, I should say actually not. Excuse me. You're better off just having your animal, your meat, the animal fats, the butter, the ghee, the duck fat, the beef tallow, the schmaltz, and the fat that they get from sheep and lamb. Use those things to cook with. I mean, it's better. It's just a better world. I know it's hard for that to sink in. It's very hard. It takes a while, but once you start getting the results, and then even your lab work comes back good, and it ages you backwards, and it's like, maybe I should stick with this. Although I think people are so used to following what a perceived leader says to do, but sometimes you have to maybe learn more, look into some information, and then figure out what works for you on your own. That's all I have to say. But that's basically it. So I encourage you to what works for you, what truly works for you, not because your friends and your family or some person that there's a written 15 books said that everybody should do. What actually works for you, which is what you have to figure out. And this, hands down, this type of a lifestyle seems to be helping a lot of people in so many different ways. So I take it quite seriously. And yes, when I went to visit my family in Florida, it wasn't even a challenge. I was concerned that it would be a challenge for me, but it wasn't. I went to the grocery store, not out to a restaurant. Although my dad, he wanted to go to IHOP, but I was still able to get something that kept me within the keto range, which wasn't complicated at all. First, he was looking at me kind of odd. I'm like, can't mess with those carbohydrates. They weigh me down and they clog me up. Which is an allergy, which is what I tell people. They weigh me down, clog me up. So as he starts seeing the progression, it's like, my body is adapting and acting like somebody that's not 56 years old, somebody much younger, and which is another positive thing that people that follow this lifestyle experience. So it's like, I just want to shout it to the rooftops in the world, but still it's only just a small percentage of us. It's a small few of us, and I understand, people get concerned and afraid because they've been taught to do certain things in a certain way for so long. It's kind of hard to change that, you know. But it takes time if you choose to. And I'm the type, some of you that already know me, I don't mind going down rabbit holes, learning, and I find out so many things on even other topics and subject matter. You know, it's like the information is there, but it amazes me how much people don't do their own research. And even some things that people follow that they think is congruent for them really isn't. And there's no research or study that have found that it's actually beneficial at all. That's interesting when you learn that. So I encourage you, any topic or subject matter that you're interested in, learn. Go down the rabbit hole. Ask questions, not because you're skeptical, but because you're just curious. I'm somebody, I'm just curious. I just want to know name the things I can do, body, mind, soul, and spirit, that would make me the best me that I can be for me. So that's how you should be thinking for you. That's all I say. But let me go check on this crust. It doesn't have to cook for so long. Then we're going to start adding the things to this fabulous Chicago style deep dish pizza. Be right back. Oh yeah. See that? Looks good. Now this feels odd to me, making this, because you know you're used to putting the sauce, then the cheese, and all your toppings, and maybe more cheese. But I'm going to follow this to the letter. Let's see what happens. I'm going to add this Italian blend cheese, which I love. They say you put the cheese at the bottom. Like, okay, no sauce. So I'm adding the cheese, putting this at the bottom. Oh, and another thing, yeah, sometimes with keto and carnivore, the strict proponents of it usually tell people to limit the cheese consumption, because sometimes people have issues with cheese, but then a lot of people discover after they start eating this way, that's no longer an issue for them. Yay! Glad I never had that issue in the first place. But yeah. So here, I'm going to add some. This is the pizza cheese. See, I'm adding a lot of cheese to this. See? Ain't nothing like pizza cheese and cheese on a Friday. I think that's synonymous. It goes hand in hand. Oh, and mozzarella. Add this. I'm not going to put a whole lot of veg on this. Make sure I don't have no open spaces and gaps. And the next thing they say to do is to add your meats. Okay, in terms of meats, I do have some ground beef that I already sauteed and seasoned. I'm going to add some. Well, let me let you see the cheese first. Oh, just took that out of the oven. Woohoo! That was a little warm. Let you see what that looks like with just the cheese. See? And I'm going to add this ground beef. Probably not all of this. I'll save this for something else later. And I'll use the spatula to kind of mash some of this down some. Oh, okay. Looks like I might be using this after all, which is fine. What did I say? Your crust, then your cheese, then your veg, and then your sauce. How about that? Everybody raves about this Chicago style deep dish pizzas. So, and it's deep dish for sure. And then I have some hot. You can use mild, but I like hot Italian sausage that I sauteed. Put that in here. Go ahead and use that. That is deep. That's for sure. It's basically covering, look at that, this pan. You all can see that. And then I'm going to take some my onion and herb seasoning because I don't have any onions. Sometimes I prefer doing that and not biting into onions. But I am going to use some red bell peppers. Break some of those up in here. Put that on top. You can use as much as you want. If you like olives, mushrooms, and all of that, you can do that. Just going to spread this around so it can give it a nice flavor. And I'm going to add some garlic seasoning to this. Oh, and I forgot one thing. But I'm going to put it on top. Forget it, the meat always goes before the vegetables. But I did forget this pepperoni. I do want to add this pepperoni. Let me grab a couple of pieces. It's not like the peppers completely cover everything. Here we go. And I do like lots of pepperoni. And this is the pepperoni that cups up when it's baking. We might see it, we might not, but we'll see. Wow, this is coming out good. Get a piece of paper. And next is the sauce. But of course I'm going to season my sauce. I don't measure seasoning, I just go by taste. Put some Italian seasoning in here. A little bit of the onion and herb. See, you can't see, it's the same basic stuff on a lot of recipes. Some people make it seem like cooking is so complicated. It's like sit down, take a deep breath, and just go for it. And I'm going to grab a little bit of olive oil. Just a tiny bit. That I'm going to add to that. That's actually about a teaspoon. And I'm going to add a little bit of this sweetener to this sauce. And I'm going to mix it up. That's about a teaspoon. That's all that's needed for the acid in the tomato. Of course, keto friendly sweetener. And although earlier I mentioned the animal fats, yes, they're very good for you, renew the body. But yes, you can use olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and those oils too. But it is preferable that you stick to your animal fats, believe it or not. So I'm going to drizzle this sauce on top of here and spread it around. And I'm going to put this, because remember, everything is basically already cooked. It's just a matter of making sure everything gets hot and melts well. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven on 350 and let this cook for like 45 minutes. Of course, I'm not going to keep you here 45 more minutes. No, I'm not going to do that to you. Go ahead and put this over here on the side. Stick this in the oven. And yay, the magic of TV. See, Chicago style deep dish pizza. Put these peppers on the side. I'm gonna grab a plate. Grab a small plate. And let's see what we have. This one I made earlier, I did add some artichokes to this one. I did. And I'm going to go ahead and slice this little baby up. and see what we got. I know you're curious. Feeling nice already. I'm curious because I've never followed an authentic recipe. And yes, although it is keto style, but this is different for me too. As far as I'm concerned, you can't lose with meat and cheese, period. Let me take this out. Oh, okay. Look at that. Yes. Mm. See that? Chicago style deep dish pizza. Let's see what we got. Mm. Mm-hmm. Meaty. I love that. But I'm going to put a little bit more cheese. Mm. I have this blend. Sprinkle it. Oh, it's delicious. Yes. I'm digging the flavors. It's like having a big old meat pie. Tell me, what lifestyle, what eating choices can you have where you can actually have something like this and enjoy it? Mmm, delicious. And the peppers give it a nice flavor, melts right in. And here go the pepperoni I was telling you about, you know, the kind that cups up. Mmm, this is absolutely great. Mmm, I wish you can come over. I have plenty. This one and the one that I just put in the oven, so I have two. Come on over. But you gotta wear your mask. Oh, this is delicious. This is my first time making this for you. Mm. I tell you what, I'm going to finish enjoying that as my lunch because I had breakfast earlier this morning. I just want to thank you all for joining me for this an additional edition of Tina the Keto Coach's Friday Night Treats with Tina. Thank you so much, and don't forget the description and information will be in the description box on Facebook, and I'm going to upload that on Instagram, and I'm going to upload it on Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and all of that. So you all do the replay. If you want to go back and see how I made this, so you can go ahead and do this yourself. You're definitely going to need like a pan that's at least 2 inches or 2.5 inches thick because it basically fills up the whole thing. Love this, love this. So I look forward to hearing from you and telling me how your Chicago deep dish keto pizza came out. Please let me know. Thank you so much for this fabulous edition. Have a safe and happy weekend of Friday Night Treats with Tina, the Keto Coach. Love you all. Bye-bye.